My name is Nitin, and I will be the one who will be training you guys on Playwright, how to implement it, how to use it, take benefit out of it, what industry needs, and what's the current buzz in the Playwright going in, right? In either in terms of AI, either in terms of maintainability, scalability. So we'll discuss more. And before jumping into that, I can talk about myself. So I got like 9 years of work experience in total into automation testing. Since last 5 years, I'm working on Playwright. I would say 4.5 years, and I worked in two companies all in all. I always been into product based. So two companies have used Playwright, and in my current project also I'm using Playwright with a large extent Playwright as well as the API part of Playwright as well. So earlier we were using Rest Assured, but then we migrated again to Playwright API. Right. So by saying that, I can give you some insights what exactly inside the companies, right? What's exactly going on. So quick overview. I'll give you what content and then maybe I'll tell you what is Playwright later. Before that, go over like what we will be reading or going over the Playwright. If you guys enroll into session and we will go over day by day. We will be starting with the introduction, like what is Playwright, what is techno stack, web browser supported, why Playwright, what is okay, but why is very important in today's era where people ask, right, why not Cypress, why not Protector, why only Playwright? So we'll go over that. Then Visual Studio Code and IDE requirements. So in this section, I generally tell people that what plugins I used in my personal development. That may help you guys, but totally optional if you want to use plugins or not. I mean, in your VS Code. So it's totally up to you. Programming, I generally prefer VS Code. You guys can do it in IntelliJ, Eclipse, whatever, it's your choice. But ideally, VS Code is the best choice as per market. Then, as Playwright is being designed by Microsoft and run on Node, so we will be needing Node.js and npm. So we will be installing. And if you already have those set up in your local, that's great. If not, then we will be doing that as well. Then after that, what I generally do, I ask people if they are okay with the TypeScript or JavaScript. If they're not, then I generally add one session and inject that in our content, right? Like if they say we are okay with the TypeScript, we don't need it, that's really great. If not, then I like to give them one session on TypeScript in terms of what Playwright needs, not the general TypeScript. Like I know what Playwright needs, the methods, the functions, right, of TypeScript, JavaScript. So I induce them. So if in case needed, we'll talk in after the introduction and then maybe I can add it. Then library setup, this is very easy. So we just have to install Playwright with the npm, like that's a basic command. So we can just have it. And after that, we'll write that simple Playwright script. So yeah. Then frameworks, right? So this is going to come again later, but yeah, I'm just talking about here itself. So I asked people only what type of framework they are looking up to. So there are two frameworks I go over in this session. One is the Playwright inbuilt, where you use @test. So that is, I mean, provided by Playwright only. Nothing great, but I do explain that. Another is they want BDD. They want hybrid BDD, ATDD, we called it. I mean, more than BDD. They want specific POM. They want TDD. They want, keyword driven, whatever. So it's my personal recommendation is go for BDD because that is very popular in the market, or POM. Those are, but just in case if you have, so whatever majority says, I'll pick that framework. One is the Playwright one, another one what majority says. Okay, so that is one thing. Thirdly, if you see recording scripts with the inspector, so Playwright has very good thing where you can record the scripts right in the VS Code directly, and you can edit it. So that recording feature will go over. So this is very unique thing to Playwright. We don't have it in Cypress or Protector. Then Playwright has bunch of configuration file which actually drives how Playwright works. So this is very important. So configuration file. So we have playwright.config file. If you are using BDD, then cucumber.configuration file. Then we have this angular.json, right? We have cucumber.json that I already told. Then we have step definition.json for configuring those. So all those configuration files, whatever it will has. So we will configure in this part actually, right? Like setting up the basic things like the base class or those things we will do here. in the Playwright configuration. Then locators. So Playwright is like any other tool. Every locator is being supported here, but the most recommended one is CSS selector because it is JavaScript based again, and CSS selector has native thing to be fast. We can talk about later about it why, but yeah, it supports every locator. Generally, people more into XPath, that is also being supported, no issues. But if you wanted to explore the CSS selector part, if you see the locator's fourth point, which is Playwright Inspector. Okay. So this is also one of the unique thing in Playwright, which is while recording, right? So it opens the Playwright window, which is Playwright action. So there, if you hover over any element, it will generate the CSS selector XPath for you. So you can just copy paste just in case if you want to use yours, all up to you. But if you wanted to use Playwright Inspector, that is also there. I mean, for beginners who don't know XPath or they know but they are not very good into, then they can use their CSS selector, using Playwright Inspector. Then we have actions. So actions are like any other automation tool. So whatever needed is available. So there is nothing that is even more than available, and all those are pretty much configurable also. So you can override those methods into your framework. So let's say force click, double click, click, everything is available. So these are just actions what we do on the browser. Okay. Then we have assertions. So Playwright do come with the assertion library. We can use that. I generally prefer Chai to use it for assertion because that has bunch of great assertions. So in case if we wanted to use it, we'll use that while we do a framework. But Playwright do has assertions. So assertions are asserting the input and output, right? So output with the expected and actual. So everything is available. So all type of assertions are there. We'll go over that. Then capturing element, right? So this we will go over. So Playwright do supports, if we go with the Playwright framework, we don't even need to do any configuration for capturing screenshot, recording videos. So that is pretty much can be taken care with the playwright.config file. So no code is needed. So everything can be taken care with the Playwright config. But if we go with our framework, the second one which we go in this session, BDD or whatever you guys chose, there we have to write the custom method actually. That will not use the Playwright configuration. So and there we might have to add the custom, but that is possible and we will do that as well. Then we have synchronization of waits. It do have a lot of waits, every time of waits like auto wait, local timeout, everything is static. But one thing which is very unique to Playwright, which is not there in any of the automation tool, is auto waiting. The first point. Auto waiting means any element you write, so that has of 30 seconds of auto wait, even if you didn't give any wait, and that 30 second is dynamic. So if element loads in 10 seconds, so 10, but it do wait for 30 seconds. Though you can override that in the configuration file directly to if you don't want at all a 30-second wait, you can just remove it. But it do come the every locator of that Playwright comes with the auto wait. So it is there. So that's a unique part. If you want, we can. If not, then we can even override that. So if you wanted to increase the weight, you can override from the configuration file. You can override in the framework on the method level as well. So everything is possible. Then we have creating helper function for common tasks. So this we will create. We will create bunch of utilities like for reading Excel, CSV, or maybe iterating over some sort of tables, arrays, right? So those utilities, blah blah blah, we will going to create an helper function. So this will be the part of framework. I mean, it will be general utilities I'm going to create, but just in case if you have anything special, we can add that as well. Then generating dynamic test data for Playwright tests. This we will do. So we will be using CSVs and we will be using different sources for generating test data. Here page object model is written. So page object model and BDT, one can be picked up. If you want both, then I would suggest you guys go with the ATDD, which is acceptance test driven development. So that is super framework which uses BDD as well as page object model in them. So either of we go BDD or ATDD, we will be using Cucumber, and if we are using, we will go over Cucumber as well. The basic hooks of the Cucumber, the Gherkin language given when then how to pass on the data from Cucumber to the step definition file, right? Those are everything we will be going over. Then basics of API testing, I will go over like get, post, put, 3-4 APIs we'll see. Then database connectivity, hooks. Anyway, Playwright does not have such hooks. Very basic hooks it has, but if you wanted to extend the hooks, we can use the Cucumber hooks. So anyway, if we are using BDD, we will be using Cucumber hooks. If not, if we are using POM, then we might use Jest or Chai, so their hooks can be utilized. So this was a quick look how the content looks like. There are two things which is not in the content, but I do recommend to go over. One is the AI part of Playwright. They recently launched the Playwright Code Gen, which is automatic generation of code MSL. So that I will cover in that. And there is nothing we have for Git and Jenkins, or you can say I prefer GitHub Actions for CI/CD. So if you guys need Jenkins specifically, we will. Otherwise, go for GitHub Actions. So that also we'll cover. So once we go on the track, like start from maybe third session, so I'll create one open source repo on the GitHub. You guys all will have access to it. Create your own feature branches. Whatever we read, we'll push into the main branch, pull it, write it, then run it on the CI/CD on the GitHub Actions directly. I think that's how the quick look on the content. So basic introduction, we'll talk about a little bit around Playwright. So yeah, what is Playwright? I mean, it's an open source end-to-end testing framework by Microsoft. So yes, it is from Microsoft, and we are continuously getting released versions every month or every second month we are getting, and it's open source. So anyone who wants to contribute can contribute. So and there's no license fees. You can just install it through npm, and it will be available in your node modules to work. Okay. Secondly, it's automated browser testing of modern web applications. So when we say modern, it does not mean it cannot go or can be test the old legacy applications, but it is best suited because of the Chromium, because of the headless approach, because of it uses latest way of utilizing web applications, right? So that's where it is being said as modern web applications. Then built on Node.js with support for TypeScript and JavaScript. So benefit of being Node.js is the benefit of community, as you already know, right? JavaScript or has a very huge community. So if you have anything, any issue, you can post on Stack Overflow. You can find out the answers on ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot, right? So that is also one more thing that is also has good source of playwrights, right? So being supported by huge community, then offer parallel testing, auto waiting, and headless execution. So parallel testing and headless execution is not new thing, or most of it, many of the tool supports, but auto waiting is very good thing which is being provided inbuilt. Though it can be achieved or can be created in the framework, but still it do supports. We don't have to do any explicit thing. It do supports auto waiting, right? And then parallel execution and headless execution is also being done. And for headless execution, the good thing is we don't have to do any coding. It's all can be done with the help of the configuration file. So that's how the Playwright is. So we'll talk about little bit about the Playwright technology stack. One second. So it supports JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, C Sharp, Java. Most popular is JavaScript, TypeScript. Many people use, but I'm seeing nowadays Python is also getting popularized. But still, if you ask, on top is Type JS and TS. Okay. Runtime environment is Node.js. So yes, we need Node.js in our server, even on the CI/CD pipeline. If we go over the CI/CD, so Node.js is a must. So test runner built in at the rate Playwright test or external Jest and PyTest we can use. So if we go with the Playwright framework, we will using Playwright test. But if we are going with the ATDD, we will be using Jest or Chai Mocha, if you have heard, right? So those we will be might be using it. Then based on CDP and browser protocol. So this is very, again, whatever the Selenium, all they follow the browser protocol. So simple. And then CI/CD integration, it support GitHub Action, Jenkins, Azure DevOps. So all open actions are given by Playwright itself. You can just call it out and edit into it. Then we have supported web browsers, mostly support all. WebKit is Safari. So for this we have altogether a different suite. Then we have Firefox, mobile emulation, headed, headless mode. So it's do work well with the mobile emulation. So if you have websites which are very responsive in nature, and when you come to mobile, so same website turns into mobile. So it do supports that also. Chromium is very fast, so we will be mostly using Chromium. But yeah, I can maybe WebKit I might not, because I have a Windows laptop, but maybe on GitHub Action or Jenkins we will see WebKit there on the server. We can install it. So why use Playwright? Yeah, this is very important question, right? And many of you should also have that in your mind, that even why I am doing the Playwright. Is it really necessary? Is it important? Is it another yet another tool? So That is true. It is yet another tool. So tools will come. Right now, the Playwright is the latest in the market. It has everything what ideal automation tool should have. But as the items are growing, market is becoming competitive. You might expect many more tools to come. But what makes it different is first thing, the inbuilt code generator of Playwright. Okay. Secondly, the record and play facility along with the strong ability to write and manipulate the test cases. So you can use it as a record and play utility also. That's totally fine. You can write the code as well. That is also totally fine. So though they two are independent thing, but being handled very sweetly in the Playwright. So two things. Thirdly, it has this different ways of handling. So let's say one is auto waits, second is the configuration file. Everything can be configured from a single file. So that is a strong part where you don't have to hop for many places in the code, many things. You can just directly drive it from the configuration file. Let's say you wanted to drive how much assertion weight should be. Let's say if you are asserting something, so how much time it should wait, 30, 40. So that you can drive it from the configuration file. You can drive the navigation timeout from the configuration file, load timeout, page load timeout. Everything can be driven from a single configuration file. So then parallel test execution, that is there, but it is not a very unique thing. It is available all across, right? Then debugging tool. So it do supports two ways of debugging. One is you can debug in the Playwright inspector, okay, or you can debug directly in the VS Code. So with the launch.json, right? So that is also possible. Then also one more unique thing which I think Arvind brings up, that we also go that Playwright comes with the MCP server. So basically if we wanted to do some automation, some sort of auto generation, that we can use through MCP server. So that also I'll cover. So this was a little bit about why I use Playwright and then what is Playwright.